From emperor to billionaire. Have you ever wondered, what connects a Roman emperor who lived 2,000 years ago with a tech billionaire who's shaping the future of humanity? It's not money. It's not power. It's a powerful philosophy. Stoicism, a way of thinking that helps people stay rational in emotional storms, stand firm amidst chaos, and pursue ambitious goals without losing themselves in the process. In today's video, we're going on a long journey, from the pages of Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, the most philosophical emperor of ancient Rome, to the fierce mindset of Elon Musk, a man who uses cold logic and steel will to turn science fiction into reality. We'll uncover why Stoicism has lasted for thousands of years and is now more popular than ever, how the world's most successful people have turned it into a powerful inner weapon, and how you can apply it to transform your own life. 1. Marcus Aurelius, leading in crisis and the first lesson of Stoicism. There's a paradox in history. The most powerful philosophies aren't born during peace and prosperity, but when people are backed into a corner by chaos. And Stoicism was born in such a time, under the hand of a man who was emperor, warrior, and philosopher, Marcus Aurelius. Imagine being Marcus. You rise to power as emperor of Rome, only to face a deadly plague spreading across Europe. The northern borders are in turmoil, and war drags on for nearly 2 decades. The people closest to you betray your trust. Every morning, you wake up to a list of urgent problems you can't delay. But instead of complaining, Marcus wrote in his journal, not for publishing, not to preach, but to remind himself. That journal would later be known as Meditations. And from those pages, the foundation of modern Stoic thinking was formed. Marcus didn't try to control the world. He learned to control his reaction to it. He wrote, "You have the power to hold no opinion. No one can force you to react. You cannot control what's outside, but you can fully control your mind." That is the core strength of Stoicism. When the world is in chaos, keep your inner world calm. Don't give up, but don't panic either. Don't become arrogant in success, nor despair in failure. This isn't just abstract wisdom. It's something you can apply every single day. When your boss unfairly criticizes you, you can react impulsively or take a breath, step back, and see the bigger picture. When someone speaks badly about you, you can strike back or choose silence, because you know their words don't define who you are. Marcus led an empire not with noise, but with calm. He didn't become a great emperor because of sheer power, but because he stayed rational when everyone else lost control. And his first lesson is clear. It's not external strength, but internal stability that creates the undefeatable person. And that's the first foundation of the Stoic success mindset. 2. What is Stoicism? The core values and its timeless strength. Stoicism is often misunderstood. It's not about suppressing emotions or living like a cold machine. In fact, it's the art of staying awake and clear-headed in a world full of emotional chaos. Not about erasing fear, but understanding it, mastering it, and acting wisely despite it. So, what does Stoicism really teach us? The answer lies in its 4 core virtues, timeless foundations that have lasted over 2,000 years. To be continued. Wisdom, knowing how to distinguish what is within your control and what is not. Courage, choosing to do the right thing, even when it's difficult. Temperance, practicing self-restraint, knowing when enough is enough, and not being ruled by emotion. Justice, treating others with fairness and kindness, even when no one is watching. At the heart of all these is one central Stoic principle. Focus on what you can control. Let go of what you cannot. It sounds simple, but living this way requires a lifelong commitment, because we are hardwired to worry, to overreact, to get angry, and to waste our energy on things we can't change. The weather, other people's emotions, your boss's bad mood, gossip and judgment from society. Stoicism says, don't waste your life on those things. Instead of reacting, reflect. Instead of complaining, act calmly and intentionally. This philosophy wasn't just written in ancient books. Today, many entrepreneurs, athletes, investors, and artists quietly use Stoicism as a mental strategy. Ryan Holiday, author of The Daily Stoic, was head of marketing at American Apparel at age 21. He used Stoicism to stay grounded under extreme media pressure. Tim Ferriss, author of The 4-Hour Workweek, once said, "Stoicism is the most effective decision-making tool I've ever encountered." And of course, Elon Musk, whom we'll explore in detail next, is one of the clearest examples of a modern Stoic thinker. Logical, calm, resilient, and immune to emotional manipulation. You can begin practicing Stoicism today with small, consistent steps. Write a short journal entry in the morning to identify what's within your control. Before every decision, ask yourself, am I reacting out of emotion or choosing to act based on values? Practice memento mori, the Stoic reminder that life is short, to focus only on what truly matters. Stoicism doesn't promise to make you a superhero, but it helps ensure you won't crumble so easily. And in a chaotic world, just standing strong already puts you ahead of most people. 3. Elon Musk, the Stoic engineer of the modern era. Elon Musk isn't a philosopher, but if the ancient Stoics were alive today, they might look at him and nod in approval, because Musk's way of thinking, from how he makes decisions to how he handles failure, reflects the core spirit of Stoicism: unshakable logic, emotion-free action, an intense focus on what truly matters. One of Musk's most defining traits is his use of first principles thinking, a modern Stoic tool. Rather than following popular opinion or being led by feelings, Musk breaks problems down to their fundamental truths and rebuilds from the ground up. For example, when he started SpaceX, most experts said, private rockets are impossible. The cost is too high. But Musk didn't accept that default thinking. He didn't ask, how much do rockets currently cost? He asked, what are rockets made of? How much do the raw materials cost? Can I build them myself? And with that, he redesigned the entire supply chain, cutting costs by nearly 10 times. It was a crazy move that only someone unclouded by emotion and conventional thinking could make. What's even more impressive is that Elon Musk doesn't fear failure. He only cares about data and the lessons each failure reveals. When the first 3 SpaceX rocket launches failed, most people would have given up. Musk didn't. He was nearly out of money, on the edge of bankruptcy, but still pressed forward for a 4th launch. And it succeeded. The average person would have collapsed under the pressure. A Stoic mindset? Accept the situation. Analyze. Adapt. Act again. Elon Musk did exactly that. You'll also notice Musk doesn't care much for public image, praise, or criticism. He famously sold all his homes and now lives in a small house near his factory. He doesn't need luxury to prove anything. Just like Marcus Aurelius once wrote, fame is nothing. Right action is everything. Elon Musk doesn't call himself a Stoic, but he lives like one, unmoved by emotion, calm in chaos, driven not by recognition but by mission. And that has made him a symbol, not just of wealth, but of mental resilience in a stormy era. For pain is opportunity. Stoicism teaches us to face, not flee. If you think Stoicism is about escaping pain, then you've misunderstood it. Stoicism doesn't teach you to run from pain. It teaches you to walk into it, with open eyes, a steady heart, and a clear mind. The ancient Stoics didn't live in luxury palaces. Epictetus was born a slave. He was beaten and crippled by his master, living with a disability for the rest of his life. Seneca was exiled, falsely accused, and eventually ordered to commit suicide. Marcus Aurelius, as you've already seen, lost loved ones one after another, and lived through plagues, wars, and betrayals. Yet none of them blamed life. None of them said, this isn't fair. They wrote, they reflected, and they emerged deeper, calmer, and stronger after every hardship. Stoicism believes that pain can be raw material for self-mastery, as long as you don't run from it. When something painful happens, you always have 2 choices. Flee the emotion, complain, blame, or go numb. Face it directly. Acknowledge it. Accept it as part of life. And ask, what can I learn from this? That's the question the Stoic asks. And it's the same question that has helped millions navigate crisis, loss, and failure. Elon Musk was once ousted from the very companies he built. First Zip2, then later PayPal. He came close to losing everything after 3 failed rocket launches at SpaceX. He was mocked as a crazy guy chasing science fiction. But instead of retreating, He accepted those failures as an essential part of the journey to success. Just like Seneca once said, we cannot control circumstances, but we can always choose our response. And so can you. If you're unemployed, ask yourself, my value hasn't changed, so what am I learning during this time? If you're heartbroken, ask, am I becoming more resilient? Am I learning how to love myself the right way? Remember, pain doesn't mean you failed. Running from pain, that's the real failure. Stoicism isn't the easy path, but it's the path that lets you walk through fire without being burned, with greater strength, with clearer vision, and with deeper wisdom. 5. Success doesn't come from emotion, it comes from strategy. In the age of social media, it's easy to get swept up in an emotional storm whenever sensational news appears. A rage-filled tweet, a harsh comment, or a dramatic live stream. Any of these can throw you off track, shake your calm, and lead you to make bad decisions. Stoicism warns, when emotion takes the lead, reason will fail. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, the state of your inner mind matters more than the external world. This means, whether you're in the middle of a war zone or basking in glory, you need a mental strategy to guide your reactions. Elon Musk is a powerful example of emotion-free strategy. He's constantly scrutinized by the media, but he never goes on Twitter to explain or defend himself. Instead, he focuses on his 10-year roadmap for SpaceX or on building the self-driving model for Tesla. While his rivals waste time responding to critics, Musk focuses on engineering data, rocket launch feedback, and performance metrics. The result? He's not driven by rage or euphoria. He stays on schedule and on mission. Strategy 1. Disconnect before reacting. Before responding to a critical email, take 10 minutes to breathe and write down your thoughts. Ask yourself, what am I feeling? Why? Will this reaction actually help solve the issue? Strategy 2. Act based on long-term values. Stoicism teaches us to ask, if I died tomorrow, would this still matter? Elon Musk once sold all his homes to reinvest in SpaceX instead of chasing comfort. He understands that long-term value always outweighs short-term emotions. Strategy 3. Use negative visualization to prepare emotionally. Imagine the worst-case scenario before facing reality. Your startup fails. Your partner walks away. The market collapses. When adversity strikes, you'll already be mentally prepared and have contingency plans. Musk had financial backup plans for all 3 of his initial failed launches, ready for the worst. Strategy 4. Learn from data, not from praise or insults. Praise can inflate your ego. Criticism can crush your confidence. But data, financial numbers, technical metrics, is truth. Musk only cares about test results and engineering flaws, not whether media calls him a genius or a madman. In short, success, through a Stoic lens, isn't about the thrill of achievement. It's about the steadiness in how you build and follow through with your plan. When you're no longer pulled by your emotions, you can see the long term clearly, and that's how bold, calculated decisions are made. 6. Silence, the underrated power in a noisy age. We live in an era where the loudest voice, the fastest reaction, or the flashiest trend often wins attention. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. This philosophy reminds us, silence is not weakness. Silence is a form of power, a strength born from self-mastery. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who ruled an entire empire, wrote in Meditations, "Don't let the noise outside drown the voice within." He understood, people who are easily pulled by crowds, quick to anger or reactive, have lost control of their inner world. The truly strong don't respond to every insult. They don't need to prove anything to anyone. This is exactly how Elon Musk operates, living in the eye of the media storm, but rarely firing back. He's been attacked by the press, mocked by rival CEOs, and grilled by investors. But instead of engaging in drama, he focuses on his work, because he knows. Reacting to every comment wastes energy. Right action speaks louder than words. Silence to observe, not to suffer. A Stoic doesn't stay silent out of fear. They stay silent to step back, observe the whole picture, and analyze the real issue. They know emotion-driven reactions are often wrong, But when you respond after reflection, even silence or stillness can carry weight. Silence to preserve mental freedom. The Stoics believed, if you can't control your tongue, you've lost your freedom. That's why they trained themselves to speak less, listen more, and keep their thoughts independent. Marcus often wrote about the inner citadel, a place within you that no one can touch unless you allow them in. Practical applications. When should you stay silent? When you're publicly criticized online, don't argue. Let your results speak. When someone provokes you, smile, step back, and keep control of your mood. When you're angry, write it down first. Don't say it aloud. Actions taken in anger are often ones you'll regret. Stoicism doesn't reject speech, but it knows that speech only holds power when it comes from a quiet, centered mind. And sometimes silence is the loudest voice of all, the voice of someone who truly rules over themselves. 7. Stoicism and the power to make clear decisions in chaos. There's one life skill no school teaches systematically, yet determines much of your success or failure. The ability to make decisions when everything is falling apart, when the market crashes, when people around you are yelling in rage, when your own emotions are on the verge of explosion. What will you do? Stoicism offers one crucial principle. Do not let circumstances dictate your actions. Let reason dictate your actions, regardless of the circumstances. This is a Stoic mindset. Act based on essence, not on noise. Stoic decision-making. No rush, no avoidance, no delusion. When you face difficult situations, betrayal, job loss, financial collapse, the average person panics or gives up. The Stoic does the opposite. They separate emotion from the issue. They identify what's within their control. They take decisive action, not based on impulse, not based on fantasy. Marcus Aurelius faced civil war and rebellion from one of his closest generals, Avidius Cassius. Instead of reacting in anger or revenge, he stepped back, analyzed the situation, maintained stability, and chose to forgive. Why? Because he knew that revenge would only satisfy a fleeting emotion, but would damage the empire long term. Elon Musk has also made major decisions in the middle of chaos. When he decided to acquire Twitter, now X, many called it an impulsive move. But in truth, Musk had been researching the impact of social media on free speech for years. Even when facing massive criticism from all directions, he followed through, not out of emotion, but from deeply considered conviction. 3 Stoic steps for decision-making. Clarify reality. Write down exactly what's happening. No emotional overlays. No exaggeration. Separate what you can control. List the elements you can influence and what you must accept. Act based on core values. Which action aligns with your long-term goals, your integrity, and your reason? In an increasingly chaotic world, the ones who succeed are not the most intelligent, but the ones who make the clearest decisions. And to do that, you need a mind as steady as stone. Something Stoicism trains better than any classroom ever could. 8. Balancing ambition and inner peace. We often believe, to find peace, we must give up ambition. To climb higher, we must sacrifice serenity. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. Peace is not the opposite of ambition. It's the foundation of lasting success. Marcus Aurelius is a perfect example. He didn't live like a monk in isolation. He didn't abandon the world in search of tranquility. On the contrary, he was the head of a vast empire, making thousands of decisions every year, from politics of war, from domestic policy to foreign diplomacy. What set him apart was this. Amid all that, he maintained inner stillness, a mind untouched by praise, a heart unshaken by betrayal, a soul that did not become a slave to winning or losing. Likewise, Elon Musk, who leads 3 of the world's most ambitious industries, energy, electric vehicles, and space, is not a carefree man, but he possesses something deeply stoic. He doesn't let ambition consume his inner peace. Musk has openly shared that he often feels lonely and suffers. But instead of avoiding it, he transforms loneliness into creative fuel, pressure into focused work. While many CEOs enjoy luxury, Musk sleeps at his factories, lives simply, and puts his mission above himself. That's the essence of Stoicism. Doing great work doesn't require showing off. True success isn't for display, it's for contribution. The lesson for us: ambition and peace can coexist. If you are in control of them, you can dream big, but don't let outcomes define your worth. You can chase goals, but don't lose the present moment. You can work hard, but still take time to pause, breathe, and recognize what enough feels like. Stoicism doesn't ask you to abandon the world. It simply reminds you, live in this world as a master, not as someone swept away by it. And on the journey of ambition, peace is a compass that ensures you never lose your way. 9. Stoicism, a weapon against anxiety and procrastination. Have you ever woken up in the morning feeling an inexplicable sense of anxiety? Tasks piling up, unfinished plans, an email left unanswered. Yet instead of facing them, you avoid, delay, and feel paralyzed. You're not alone. Anxiety and procrastination are two invisible enemies of modern life. And Stoicism, more than any other philosophy, gives you a powerful weapon to face them head-on. Stoicism doesn't soothe anxiety. It helps you face it. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You can endure the present. What causes you suffering is your imagination about the future." This is a profound truth. We don't worry about the present. We worry about what might happen, about imagined worst-case scenarios, about endless what-ifs. Stoicism teaches us, don't fight the future with imagination. Return to the present, where your choices and actions exist. Any step forward, no matter how small, is better than a day lost in anxious procrastination. The Stoic mindset breaks the procrastination loop. Procrastination often comes from two main causes: fear of failure or imperfection, feeling overwhelmed by goals that seem too big. What would a Stoic do? Break actions down into the smallest possible steps. Remind themselves, your worth is not in the result, but in the courage to start. Practice premeditatio malorum, the visualization of worst-case scenarios, to prepare mentally and avoid being paralyzed by vague fear. Elon Musk as an example. Elon Musk is the embodiment of decisive action. He had every reason not to start SpaceX. No aerospace background. No support from peers. A 99% chance of failure. But Musk didn't let fear of the future paralyze his present. He took the first step. Hired engineers, studied materials, built prototypes. He once said, "I don't spend a lot of time thinking about failure. If it happens, I learn. But if I sit around fearing it, I won't get anything done." Stoic practices to overcome anxiety and procrastination. Every morning, write down 3 things you can control today. Every evening, write down 1 action you completed, even if small, to prove you're not powerless. When anxious, ask, does this worry help me solve the problem? If not, act instead of overthinking. Stoicism doesn't promise an easy life, but it makes you stronger to live fully despite the challenges. And sometimes, all it takes is this. Just start. Once you begin, anxiety no longer has a place to cling. 10. How can you start living like a Stoic today? Maybe you're wondering, this all sounds great, but how do I start living like a Stoic right in the middle of my modern, busy, high-pressure life? The answer is not in abandoning society and retreating to the mountains. It's not about reading hundreds of philosophy books either. You just need to start with small, daily actions. 1. Start the day with a Stoic question. Each morning, before jumping into your phone, your work, or your worries, pause for a minute and ask, what is within my control today? This is the foundation of Stoicism. Write down 3 things you can govern: your attitude, your time, your reactions to others. That's enough to keep your mind anchored. 2. Practice negative visualization. This is one of the most powerful mental tools of the Stoics. Imagine the worst so you can appreciate the present. What if you lost your job today? What if a loved one were suddenly gone? What if your project failed completely? Not to scare yourself, but to wake yourself up, to stop postponing, to love the present, and to build mental resilience for future shocks. 3. End the day with reflection. Marcus Aurelius kept a nightly journal. You can too. What did I do well today? What moments made me lose control? How do I want to act differently tomorrow? Just 5 minutes before bed can help you progress steadily, rather than repeat old patterns. 4. Remember, no one can force you to react. When someone says something absurd, when a client yells, when you're pushed into a tough situation, remember, you have the power not to react immediately. You can pause. You can choose calm over chaos. And that's how a Stoic lives, intentionally, not instinctively. 5. Take action, even if it's a small step. Stoicism doesn't teach you to sit quietly and remain calm in suffering. It pushes you to act, but with purpose. You don't need to do everything perfectly. You just need to start today. Start not letting emotions control you. Start living with intention. And that's enough, because the Stoic life isn't about perfection. It's about daily progress, with a clear mind and a steady heart. Conclusion: what remains after everything? You've just been on a journey, not just through philosophy, but through the inner landscape of the self. From the quiet writings of Marcus Aurelius to the rational decisions of Elon Musk, you've seen one thing clearly. Stoicism isn't a philosophy of the past. It's a tool for the present, a roadmap to help you navigate chaos, make calm decisions, maintain peace when the world goes mad, and pursue success without losing yourself. Here's what you've learned. Pain is part of life, and you can move through it. Success doesn't come from impulse, but from strategy, discipline, and reflection. You don't need to control the world. You only need to control yourself. Peace and ambition aren't opposites. They support each other. When you live with intention, you can live like a Stoic through the smallest actions, breathing, staying silent, observing, acting. And the final lesson, perhaps the most important of all, you can't choose every circumstance, but you can always choose how to live. If you found this video valuable, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Not just to support meaningful content like this, but to always have a companion, reminding you each week, in this chaotic world, there is still a path for reason, courage, and calm. See you in the next video, where every moment will be another solid step on your journey of personal growth.